Hey guys, May here. Happy Moon Day. And this little video, I'd like to talk for a moment about a song. I come to you often with language, zodiac, lyrics, essentially all kinds of symbolism that is hidden in plain sight, if you will, and the deeper meaning behind these texts, lyrics, zodiacal symbols, which is all implementation, which is essentially from what I can tell, it's just simply implements inside this quantum-based field in which we exist. And so I wanted to talk to you for a moment about this song. So do you remember the famous Beatles song, Help, I Need Somebody? I think most people would recognize this song if they heard it. So what does that really mean? Because what an odd song that is. You know, when you really analyze it, what an odd song. And what comes to me a lot in my what I refer to as cosmic messages, which is essentially just a layer of my consciousness that is connected, that is essentially the invisible self connected by way of software and hardware, the hardware of my brain and the invisible self, or the etheric, the psychic ether, the etheric body, which is essentially just swirls all around us. It's like a toroidal field. It's an aura, and I believe at this point, from what I gather at this point, that it extends several feet beyond the physical avatar. Essentially, we are a body inside of a soul, right? So I receive these messages, and they come through hard, fast, and strong, all hours of the day and night. But especially, I would say, like especially late at night or when I'm first waking up. And I see visions too, and that's for another video. However, let's and not hallucinations. I'm not taking anything. Good God, no. This one comes to me because I notice a lot of times in lyrics, I will notice, especially from the big guys, which are all Tavistock invented. We know that. Pink Floyd, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, the Who. A lot of the older, really big names that we can all, I mean, most of us can recognize, right? So the thing is in this song that I'm referring to you in this video that I'm discussing, like other songs, I have noticed that I often will refer to the essential I, the observer, the I that is deep within the mechanisms of the brain. That would be the single eye. Let thy single eye be thy light, as it says in the Bible. And that is the eye that is connected. That is the third eye ventricle, right? And you could say that that is the C-shaped bundle of nerves, and then you've got the fornix, which is the furnace, and you've got the third eye ventricle. You've got the whole system, right? The fornix is like the arch, the bridge, and I'll get into that another time. But essentially, you've got, let's just leave it there. You've got the I, which is the I. We call ourselves, do we not? You say, I am feeling, I am this, I am that. But how odd and interesting it is that we are all eyes. Everyone is an eye. Why is everyone an I? I mean, if we were to be technical, if we were to be accurate, we should really refer to ourselves in third person always, just like children do. Just like children do, I would say, A May is tired, A May is hungry, A May is feeling this. And hence you would do the same with your name, with your E-man, right? That's your E-man. And it's just a title, right? It's just a title. However, it makes a lot more sense in the sense that you are then referring to the avatar, to the physical, or what appears to be physical self that materializes in this quantum-based field. So that makes a lot of sense. But the I is interesting as we are all I. We are all I. Okay, okay. So once we realize that, we know that the I is the I. It is the EYE. And I am sure I've thrown off many people when texting, which I can't stand, when I refer to myself as EYE. I can only imagine what is what on earth is she saying? She's the EYE. This must be a typo. No, I know that I'm the EYE. So, having said that, that comes through in lyrics. Because when we think about like a lot of lyrics and a lot of songs, I mean, come on now. They're strange. They're really odd. I can think of so many songs. Wrapped up like a douche in the middle of the night. What? I mean, there's so many strange lyrics that no one gives a second thought to. So, help, I need somebody, excuse me, somebody, not just anybody. You know, I need someone. One is you. You are Neo. The EYE is Neo, is one. Right? Which is also Adam, which is also a tomb, which is also a two. It's a dual system, but which is one. In the binary, like 1 and 0, if you will. So in other words, I need somebody. I need someone. So the I emanates the body. Now, this is Manly P. Hall stuff, as a matter of fact, that I've even read, that everything originates from, and this makes sense when you think about it, if you want to be logical here, even though we're in an illogical field, but if you want to be logical, it makes sense that the brain comes first, the body emanates, right? Right? And then that explains the zodiac and all elements of the body, as well as the zodiacal gates, the 12 disciples, which are deep inside of the brain. So, and then you've got the parasympathetic nervous system, right? It all like it's like you think of a brain, and then it all emanates out to a body. So, if you were to enter from a layer of the astral into this place, if you believe on any level, if you believe in reincarnation, then that means that you believe that you've existed before. So anyone who says who can't line up the facts that you are in essentially now in a layer of the astral, or which it has star, excuse me, it's got the word star, and that you are in a layer of the afterlife right here, right? So you can't say that you don't believe in reincarnation, but you can't see how this is a layer of the afterlife. The Bordeaux, if you will, right? The Bardos. So anyway, as I was saying, I need somebody. I need not just anybody. You know, I need someone. Help me if you can. I'm feeling down. Okay, so I think that most of us can agree that we've fallen into a type of this is some big abstract thought here. Okay, so stay with me for just a moment. This is some big abstract thought. You've fallen down, but remember that you are just an electric being. You're just an electric spinning being, an orb inside of the, do you know what I'm saying? Inside of the system. So you fell down. I am feeling down as the I emanates, and then you are down into the black hole, right? Right? Think pupil. Think black hole, right? Black hole sun. I sure would appreciate your being round. Round. I wonder what's round here. A clock? A circle? Yeah. So, I mean, you look at animals. Look how an animal often, a dog will walk in circles before he lays down. Why? He's just following the ecliptic. He's just following the circuitry, right? Well, you have circuits inside of your system, and it's circular, right? Circuit City, right? And I'm not off on a tangent. I'm still staying because I know I can get off, but it's hard to explain. This is not the easiest to explain. Do you get what I'm saying? This is not. This is on a higher level. And my goal or objective when I speak to you is to fire off some synapses, is to expand that little 10%, to flex, to stretch the thought, which I know for a fact activates your ethereal, your invisible self, your outer layer of consciousness, that higher self, right? By way of pineal gland, third eye ventricle. So we're activating when we really, you can feel it. We can feel the connection. You can feel the conduit to the cosmos, which is essentially just the macrocosm of the microcosm, and vice versa. So anyway, because it's a projection, project. So help me if I can. I'm feeling down. I sure would appreciate your being round. Who is you? Well, you is everything outside of the EYE. So when you hear songs and they're speaking of I and you, which is not, once you get it metaphysically, you can't unsee it. It's not about, romance and the girl. I mean, on some low level, sure, but the deeper meaning behind it, there's always a deeper meaning. Is it Saturnian? Of course, because they're all energies. Is there a Saturnian air element with music? Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, of course there is. Absolutely. It doesn't stop me from listening to it. I still love it. And I know that it operates on a frequency, but I do believe that essentially much of this music, especially this music that we're discussing here, like the Beatles and Led Zeppelin, I do believe Pink Floyd as well, that there is it's a level of hypnosis, if you will. And I do know to some degree, my actually, side note, my grandfather's, my great grandfather, he was founder and president of the branch or chapter of the Institute of Hypnosis in New Orleans. And I don't remember a ton when I was a kid. I remember some, but I do know music is a type of hypnosis. Just like we today do streaming, this is just a mental streaming, right? And music, you can see that with the effect that it would have on the Who man, right? And it still to some degree does if you play any of this, right? It's still something that is very supernatural deep inside music and very mystical, and that is a whole another discussion. But for now, this video is about the help. I need somebody. So the I is reaching for the body, right? The I is going to emanate the body, right? So everything outside of the body, when they sing to you, is everything that's lying outside of the EYE. Now, for a moment, let's take a closer look at YOU, and I have done videos on this. And it would behoove you to take a look at some of the at a video at some point that is older. I know the Who man can't do this. The attention span is so short. We can only operate within 48 hours. For that, I do not understand remotely. But I do have some other interesting videos on language that covers the alpha, beta wave system, and YOU, if you will. So YO is what? What is YO? What is YO? It's yo. What is yo? It's I in the romantic language in Spanish. It's I. It's ego from Latin, YO. Now, look at the letter U. It's a horseshoe. It's a horseshoe for a reason. As we enter into this system, we come in and we go out. You go down and then you enter physically. I'm saying this is very esoteric. It's very spiritual. It requires some imagination to understand this concept. It's not easy to convey, and I want you to understand the concept. Everything outside of the EYE, which as you sit here, you are the EYE, everything outside of the EYE that the black pupils are projecting is YOU. Well, hang on. You could say, well, hang on, May. That means that YO is I still. That's right. Attached to the horseshoe U. It's an extension. It's emanating outside of the EYE, right? That's philosophical, that's esoteric, that is supernatural, that is occult, that I didn't read that in a book. It came to me because there's something outside of me that trusts me, right? And and then I could ask myself, well, why do I deliver this on the internet? I don't know. I figure if it helps a few people better understand who and what they are in this system, then so be it. I take the risk. So the EYE, help, I need somebody, emanates. So this song is not a song that is just, the Beatles are not singing just, I need somebody, not just anybody. I mean, come on, none of that. Tavistock, even though that whole system is for sure, is there demonic entities at play? Is there supernatural beings writing these lyrics? Interdimensional beings? It's quite possible. It makes sense. I don't think it's not delivered directly from the Who man. I mean, even the thoughts that I receive or the thoughts that you receive, you wouldn't be here if you didn't. It's a sort of interdimensional layers that we are receiving these thoughts. There is a psychic ether, and it's not given to everyone. I would actually say I would actually venture to say it's a very minimal number. We are a minority. So, and that's just fine. That is just fine. I don't need the thousands of, I don't need, God, the last thing I'd want to leave is some big legacy in this place. Then guess where you're coming right back to. So, however, I do love the idea or the notion of helping a few people better understand who or what they are in this system. Is I think it's for expansion, it's needed for consciousness. And I do believe by way of logging into the analog, meaning pen to paper, creativity, music even, helps us better understand what and where we are and who we are. So help, I need somebody is essentially the Beatles talking about consciousness and the brain emanating into the body, and that some of that is from me, obviously, but like I said, but some of Manly P. Hall, you can read about that, and I can't remember. I think it's the Human Anatomy, the Occult Human Anatomy, or one of those little books, where he mentions that it all for the occult. That includes the, whatever, the Masons, whatever, who had some sort of connection to interdimensional beings. They knew that it all originated with thought, with Thoth, with the brain, right? With the I. It's all one and the same, and then emanates the experience, the file-based experience is what I refer to it as. But it needs that electrical orb, that system. We need that orb inside. And that's what helps deliver the visual experience. So that is what help, I need somebody. And then when he talks about you and the turn, it's often you spin me right round, baby, right round, right? Like a record, because you're in a loop-based system, right? And you fell down, right? So it all makes sense. It makes sense. It doesn't make any sense when you think about it, and that's when you know you're making sense of nonsense, because none of it's logical. If you just sit here and say, "How am I here? How does this exist? How is all of this happening?" Right? The existential dread associated with that is mind blowing. I just did a video, as a matter of fact, on to be or not to be, which was a shorter video, and essentially it is the question of not just about being busy, the busy bee, but also about if you are not to be, how do you be and not be? If you are here to be, and then what does it mean to not be? I mean, we really don't know. But what we do know is that there's a layer of consciousness that is directly lying outside of us. It's like a software system, right? And it is like, it's think of it like it's delivering messages. It's just a layer of the self, as far as I can tell. I mean, do I have all the answers? No, but I don't. But I do have some strong messages by way of the psychic ether to delivered to me that I feel that I do trust. And you can have this too. That's the whole reason why I've created these talks, because I know that that you can access, by way of arcing your angle, right? We're a series of patterns and angles, and arcing your angle to the right side. Cast your net to the right side, and sit at the right hand of the Father as you connect that energy inside of you to the cosmos, which is just the projection. But there is a silver cord. There's a silver cord. Then we can get into the moon and the sun, but I just did a video on that, and I'm going to stop here in just a moment. But the theme that I wanted to talk to you about in this video is about help. I need somebody. And how fascinating it is that consciousness is what it tells us, what this song tells us, is that it's all laying right outside of us by way of projection, right? By way of the projector being, from what I can tell, the pituitary, the third eye ventricle, the whole system is an operating system, and it projects through the black holes, just like if you were to watch a TV, and that is the YOU. And so the EYE wanted a body, and the Beatles or whoever was associated with that song, and was it the German composer who wrote much of their lyrics, and I can't think of his name offhand, and I think it was Alfred. I don't know, it was Alfred or somebody, but there was a composer who wrote. I mean, the idea that the idea that the Beatles wrote their music is just ridiculous. Now, I'm not saying they didn't write some of it, but there's definitely interdimensional beings at play, and that's, from what I can tell, that's many of those big bands. And if you look at the word band, what's a band? It's bandwidth. It's a band of frequency, right? You wear a band on your finger. It's a band. So oh, I just thought of his name and I just forgot it. No, but there's Wolfgang stuff. I don't know. There was a composer, could have been Austrian, who wrote much of their music. So you can find that out. And the point being, did they ever know that this is all supernatural, metaphysical consciousness type? Maybe. There was a lot of drugs involved, so they could, yeah, sure. And did they contribute? Maybe. But the point is that it is about consciousness. And I am certain positively that that is what, and I have there's tons of other songs and lyrics that I can, I may tell you at another time, but for now the focus is on this song, and it helps you to realize it's like an epiphany, or like a click in your system when you realize, like a light going off, right? We always talk about light, the Illuminati, right? We are the Illuminati. You are the Illuminati. I am, and you are. And when you realize that much of this music, just like in movies or text, is just displaying for you how this system works, and that the EYE, the operating system, just wanted a body. Because aren't you ever like, what is this body? What is this avatar? What is this? Like what is this, right? Well, it's several. There's layers of consciousness, earth, fire, water, air, right? And that's another video, and I'm about to stop there. But in this video, I just wanted to express how the I in help I need somebody is the EYE, and it is somebody and not just any body. I need someone. Help me if you can. If you can, which is the outside of the EYA, I am feeling down. So I'm going to stop there. This won't resonate. This will only resonate with the higher intellectual sort, those that are activating consciousness. Those will. I trust that they will understand the true meaning of these lyrics. And I'm going to stop there. I love to see your thoughts. This is abstract. This is abstract thought. Abstract thought. And I love to see your comments and your thoughts, and more in the next one. Thanks for listening.